Van, where you been, girl? What you been doing? Y'all want to hear about that? Hey, stick around for this review of Atlanta, Season 3, Episode 10, entitled Tarre! Tarre! Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture, just to see how those incidents affect our daily lives. Listen, we're just going to go ahead and get into this review of Atlanta. What did y'all think about this review? There was a lot of stuff revealed about our girl Van. Now, I will tell you, y'all, I was worried about Van because ever since she had gotten her and Darius had intertwined with this assisted suicide cult, Van has never been the same, and it's something went wrong, and we were correct that something had gone wrong. Now, I thought that she was just gallivanting across the Europe, stealing and all this other stuff. Honey, I thought she had gotten in holds of some of the gypsies or something like that, but no, we find out it is much more sinister than that. So let's get into this episode. So when the episode opens, we see three young ladies at a cafe in Paris, and they are eating and everything like that. And so the main person at that table is Candace, and Candace invited her friends Zosha, which is a pretty name, and Zosha's cousin Shanice. She invited them there to Paris on her dime because apparently she is getting paid $6,000 to pee on people. Because, you know, there's a lot of kink in some side of prostitution. And sometimes some men don't want to have sex with you. They want you to do kinky things like urinate, defecate, all this kind of stuff on you. So I don't want to be graphic or anything like that because we're on the tube, right? So she's there. She's showing her girls a good time. But the girls are wanting to do little different things. Because one girl, Zosha, wants to do this Langston Hughes, this Black American tour of Paris, of where the different people, black people had visited in Paris, like Josephine Baker and all that. The other girl was like, nah, we need to get into something. We need to really get into thing. And Candace is like, no. We can't do that. The only way that you could do that is if we know a local, and we don't know the local. So we'll just figure out what we need to do. Because basically Candace gives me the impression, when I first saw her, she gave me the impression of she's that girl that likes to impress her other friends. And I'm going to say this because I've seen it with my own eyes, particularly when I used to go to when I was in high school. There were pretty girls that would hang with not so pretty girls so that they would stand out. And that's what she gave to me, that she wanted to impress the commoners with all the things that she knows. And she don't know no more than anybody else. She's just perpetrating the funk. So they're sitting down, eating their dinner, trying to figure out what to do. And then Candace looks up. She looks surprised. She looks shocked. Who does she see? She sees Van. So she gets up and she goes over and she's talking to Van. And, Van is in a shop. Looks like either a butcher shop or, just a delicatessen type shop. And she's ordering some things and what have you. She's picking up some things, or she's having a discussion with the man, really. And she has this bag on the back of her, and then, it's like a tote, and she has this big, long baguette, French baguette in it. So it gives you the appearance that she is doing food shopping. So when Candace calls her name again, she turns around. Van, honestly and truly, looked like she didn't recognize her. And you saw Van do something. It was like when I saw that, I was like, the only time I've seen stuff like that happen is when people are, when people's minds click, like coming out of a fog or a break, whatever you want to call it. It's click. It's subtle, but it was there. And then Van oh, yes, Candace, how you doing? And she's still in that personality, but there's a click to let her know, you know this person. Go ahead and talk to her. So she talks to her, and Candace is asking her questions like, what are you doing in Paris? So she's kind of being very quick. She's talking really fast, quick stepping and dodging the questions. And so she invites them to go back to her place. Candace introduces her girls to Van. She invites them to go back to her place. They go back to her place. So, and again, Candace is moving. I mean, not Candace, excuse me. Van is moving back and forth, back and forth. She's really, really busy trying to do stuff. She's really, 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 really busy. So Candace is like slowly going through. She sees a picture of Van with somebody. She asks her, well, who is this? She's like, this is my fiance, Marcel. And Candace is like, oh, she's like, they ask each other, what are y'all doing here in Paris? Anything. I can't remember if they said it at the table, if they said it in here. But the other girls was like, well, she came to pee on somebody. And I remember Van was like, ooh la la. But Van went to the back. And Van came back with the wine. And Candace looks at the phone, and her phone is blowing up. You could just see messages pop, 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 messages pop. I couldn't zoom in enough to see whose messages were, but you do remember Ern had been blowing up her phone. And quite naturally right now, because it's been like 3 or 4 weeks, her parents are probably blowing up her phone because they don't know where she's at. Nobody knows where Van is at this point. But there was something in this scene that I know is important, but I couldn't understand it. I saw Candace look forward, and she looked at this picture. There was this picture on the wall, and I don't know if I've noticed this picture or not, or what significance this picture has, but we know that Van is sticky fingers, so she may have stolen some really beautiful, important picture. But all I know is that Candace zoomed in on it, and Candace was trying to get back to the back to talk to Van to kind of see what was up. But again, Van is just sidestepping everything and all this other stuff. And she's like, I gotta go. Van is just in this hurry to do a whole bunch of stuff. Then she tells her that she's late for an appointment. Now, the girls are all here for it. Because they're like, oh, this is adventure. This is what we wanted. She's quasi a local or something, so she would know how to get to the spots. But Candace is a little hesitant of it. And they're like, we're going to go. Now, the girls at this point, they go through, they're scootering through Paris. They're having a good old time. They're seeing the sights. They're actually seeing Paris, and that's what the girls wanted, Shanice and Zosha. That's what they wanted. But they also clue on the fact that Vanna picked this bag up with the baguette, and she's still running around town with this baguette. And they're like, man, what is she doing with this food? And, they already have assumed that there's something wrong according to what Candace is telling them. And they're like, child, maybe that makes her feel like she's one of the people, honey. We just gonna ride with this baguette. We gonna see what's gonna go of it. One of the girls said, maybe the baguette reminds Van that she's French, or it's her security baguette. Now, when she said that, I was killing, because there was no way in the world that you were going to make me believe that was a security baguette. But little do we know. Let's move on. So we end up at this beautiful hotel. There's this bride. She's taking pictures. Vans just zooms by everybody. She's like, hola, bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. And I said, hola. It was bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. She's talking to all the little different people. She's going through the different places, and she ends up in Alexander Skarsgård's room. So now the girls are impressed. Like, how do you know Alexander Skarsgård? So then Candace is like, how long you been been providing services for Alexander Skarsgård? And if you don't know who he is, I remember him from True Blood. That's where I remembered him from. He played in a thing called Big Little Lies. I've never watched Big Little Lies, but I just remember him. I remember him and his character from True Blood. Let's keep moving. Baby, when we get in there, the girls are impressed, child. They're like, ooh, this is a big time actor, honey. We impressed. Honey, he gets in there and he starts talking about, ooh, you need to take your clothes off and we can just dance and be here naked. Child, he is out. He is in the room just rocking to Ashanti. Talking about, ooh, I just love this song. I love me some song. I've had this on play for a whole day. He is just like, is she still with Nelly? And the girl's like, nah, he's not with Nelly. Meanwhile, the girls are entertaining him in the front. So Van goes to the back in the room. And Candace, once again, is still confused. And she's trying to talk to Van. Next thing you know, Van pulls out of her pocket some drugs. And she spreads everything around. Makes it look like he's in this, taking meth and everything like that. She does that. She leaves the room. and she leaves the hotel room. She goes down to the front desk and she puts on this performance. Oh my God, he's in there taking the drugs and he's acting crazy. Someone needs to go see about him. Please, please, somebody go see about it. So the hotel desk concierge goes running up the steps to see about what's going on with this man. Van and, oh, I will tell you this. She took his keys. So Van and the girls leave. They get back on the scooter. Candace is still trying to talk to her like, what's going on? Where are we going? The girls are thoroughly impressed at this point. They're like, we ain't had this much excitement even when we was back home in Atlanta. We are not finna, Zan is a whole mood. We fixing to hang with Van. And as I said before, for Candace, that's an issue and it's a problem because she brought her girls there to look up to her. And now the girls aren't looking up to her. But at the same time, in the same token, Candace understands that there is something wrong with Van. So they keep going. The girls want to go with her. So, they all keep going and they riding around here with old Van, baby. Child, 2 streets to the right. Make that good left on Crenshaw. And baby, they are in the hood. They are in the French hood. Honey, it don't look no different than any project that if you've ever been into. If you're one of these kids like me who are project and country adjacent. They go there and now the girls are scared. They don't want to go any further. And they decide that they're going to stay there. They still mention this baguette now. And the girl's like, we're going to stay there. And Van's like, oh, I don't recommend it. So Van goes in and all of a sudden you hear these women, Tarre, 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 Tarre. And now everybody's getting scared because I'm shook. Like, why are these people hollering this stuff out? Why are they hollering at this girl? It pays Van, no, never mind. She looks, but she keeps doing what she's doing. Tarre. They keep hollering, Tarre, Tarre. So then the girls are like, something ain't right. We need to go. Something ain't right. So then they go to this car. Van opens the trunk. There's this cooler in the trunk. She opens the cooler. There's nothing there. Baby, Van is pissed. Emilio fucked me. Emilio fucked me over. She is pissed. So while she's up there pissed, they're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And then everybody's like, oh, Lord, she's into some drugs. She didn't get her drugs. You turn around. There's this group of men that are coming towards her. They're coming towards her. Again, these women are calling her, Tarre, Tarre, Tarre. And the girl's like, why do they keep calling you that? They're saying they're calling me that because Tarre is the name of the man who ate the baby. Let's take a little pause here. Child, I went to my good girlfriend Google and looked this person up, and this person existed back in the day during the Revolutionary War over there in France. Basically, this is a man who, now that I think about it, he had some kind of metabolic condition, but he had an insatiable appetite. He wouldn't gain no weight. He had a high metabolism. But he wouldn't gain no weight, but he would eat stuff. And he would eat so much food and so much, because then he just started eating odd foods, anything that he can get. So they were saying that he was eating cats and dogs and eels whole. They said that he was eating, that he went into the military and that he was eating 1/4 of the regiment's food. And he still was insatiable. They used him as a spy. They would have him eat plans and stuff like that, swallow plans whole, and then bring them back. They travel through his feces to get the plans and stuff like that. They used him as a spy. They say he went into a hospital because they were trying to figure out why he had such an insatiable appetite. What I read was he was eating any and everything. They say he was eating corpses, and then the thing that shocked everybody, that they claim that he possibly ate a baby. And so they kicked him out of the hospital. And then, sadly, he died. Nobody had figured out what was wrong with him. He died. They say he died of tuberculosis. So at that point, when, after I talked to my good girlfriend Google, I was like, wait a minute, hold up. I don't think it's drugs she's looking for. Because in my head, I was like, Lord, maybe they done got somebody's heart or something like that. What is she doing? Maybe she's dealing in, my first response was, Lord, she is dealing in underground body parts. They done took some body part, like organs. That was the thing that I was looking for. Like, oh, they were dealing in organs. He was supposed to give her an organ, and she was going to take to somebody and get some money from it. And I was like, oh, Lord, Van done got her. What is Van done got herself caught up to? Stay tuned. Let's get on through this. Baby, the men started coming towards them, and now everybody's scared. Then Van goes up into this monologue, if it's time, it's time. It's almost Star Wars-y. This little monologue, taking her little cigarette out and standing there because I guess she was prepared to get this beat down. Baby, in the background, there's this man that's backing up his car, and he hits one of the gang members. And then that gang member gets mad, and then he starts smashing the car. The man gets out of the car, starts fighting with the gang member. And all of this commotion in the back was enough diversion for the two men that were right in front of the girls to turn around, and then they started walking back towards the commotion. Child, when we pan back to the girls, you see Van just in a full sprint. Carl Lewis up in this heifer. Full sprint going back around to the cars and stuff like that. Then the girls start running too, because honey, they don't know what's going on. All we know is that Van is upset that Emilio messed her over. They get back to the scooters. There are knives in the tires. So then they're having to walk. The next scene that we see, they are coming out of the public transportation. French public transportation, and Van is just study on her phone, just texting. She ain't saying nothing. She is laser focused on this texting. She's so laser focused that she almost gets hit by a car, and Candace is still screaming at her, trying to talk to her. Child, the other girls are just like, "Ooh, honey, we are really on this adventure," not even realizing that their lives could be in danger. That they almost almost got beat down. So by this time they reach this building. Van knocks on the door, and she's greeted by this man named Carlos. And apparently he is the one who's texting. So Van has been texting him, cha-chaing it up, wanting to say how long it's been since she's seen him, talking to him, da-da-da-da-da-da. And she asked about Emilio. She said, oh my gosh, I hadn't seen Emilio in ages. Where is Emilio? Where is he at? And he said, oh, you were in luck, girl. Emilio is here. So as you go in, it appears that Carlos works in a gallery. Now, is it me, ladies and gentlemen, but did that look like the same gallery that Paperboy was in? And did Emilio look like a guy that was in that episode that we saw earlier when Paperboy took those ate the edibles? Wasn't Emilio in that episode? I can't remember, and if I do remember, I'll put it up there. But he seemed so familiar to me. I was like, he looked like somebody I know. So they're in this gallery. Honey, when Emilio turns around and he sees Van, the look of abject fear came over his face. He was like backpedaling and pissy popping and stuttering and all this kind of stuff, because he was like, she's like, where's my package? And then she started talking, and he was like, oh, I'll have to get you something for tomorrow, something next time. The package had to go to somebody else, but I can get you something tomorrow. She's like, I want my package for today. Where is my package? And he was like, I think she says, and then she starts talking about bread. She says, a baguette. She says, after a day it goes stale and it gets hard. She says, after a week or so, it gets harder. After 2 weeks, it gets extremely hard. After 6 months, she says it's almost a weapon. And she steady walking towards him. Baby, Van mollywops this man with this bread and proceeds to beat him down literally to the ground with this baguette. The girls is like, oh, I'm down with this. This is the bag. Oh, we see why she carried that dry baguette. That's a weapon. Baby, she beats him to the point where this man is bloodied all in his face and all this stuff is going on. And I mean, you see in her face just the darkness in Van's face. She's whooping that man. And so they're telling him, hey, Van, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. She ends up pulling up. She tells Emilio, tell me where my package is. And he says he's in the vase. See, the girls done got all real gangster like it's Kaze Sosa mess. Kaze Sosa mess. If you ever seen The Usual Suspects, that's you can go watch that. But baby, Shanice breaks one of the vase, and Carlos is mortified because he knows he's about to lose his job. They break the vase. She's like, Van is like, the other vase, and don't break the vase. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. So she pulls the package out, and they're still thinking that it's drugs. Van gets the package. Honey, they take a taxi to wherever the Van going on, because by this time it is nighttime. They take the taxi to where they at, and they arrive at this real ritzy place. You see a lot of people who appear to have a lot of money. The elite, they're sitting around. You know, there's people outside partying, and then you see that there are people inside. And so Van goes inside, and she's greeted by the hostess. And Van says, you know, I'm sorry I'm late and everything like that. We should have everything out in a few minutes, this. So she goes down the steps. Candace is at this point, she is shook, and she wants to leave. And the girls were like, no. She says, you said that there wasn't anything to do. You didn't want to do the thing. We had to know a local. Here are locals, and we want to stay to dinner. And then Candace is telling him, well, we weren't invited. She said, the woman just invited us to dinner. So we're going to stay for dinner. So we're going to drink some drinks, and we're going to stay for dinner, and we're going to have a good time. Because we've already, at this point, we're enjoying our little trip to Paris. So Candace is a little perturbed by that, but she's still going down because she is, at this point, now seriously worried about Ovan. Go down to the kitchen, and this is where we meet Marcel, right? So Candace, in her laser focus of talking to Van, she is not paying attention to her surroundings. She's not paying attention to anything that's going on. And she's talking back and forth to Van, and they go back and forth and back and forth. So Marcel takes the package. You know, he's like, hey, what? He was like, Emilio had flaked on me, and I had to go find him. You know, and this is what took so long. So he pulls the package out. He opens it up. And I'm thinking, oh, Lord, they are dealing in heart. I said, wait a minute. It started clicking. He's a chef. I was like, Lord, they done got this heart. Baby, they opened that package. It was hands. Hands. It was hands. These people up here about to eat hands. And Marcel is a chef. So Marcel is in that kitchen, honey, inspecting the hands, cleaning them, smelling them, making sure that they was clean and fine. Baby, he soaked them, fried them, battered them up, had a reduction sauce on the side, honey, and he was serving these hands to these folks upstairs. And baby, it was a whole ritual. And Zosa and Shanice don't have a clue what's going on. Baby, they up there all like happy. Ooh, this fancy. We up here with the elite. We fancy. So the lady is standing up there. She's saying that we're just having this wonderful meal to cook for thing. Because see, as soon as she had said she told them to put their napkin over their heads so that they can enjoy the meal because they want them to enjoy the meal without having to see other people see them enjoying the meal. But I don't know what was going on with Shanice and Josha. They must have been eating the meal and closing their eyes at the same time, because you could have seen that was a panko fried hand with some cranberry reduction sauce on the side. But they up there eating. Meanwhile, downstairs, Candace is at this point, and she just starts to talk to her. She's like, asking her all the hard questions. Like, what are you going to do when your visa runs out? What are you going to do? Are you going to stay here? Because Van is, at this point, she's like, I'm going to stay here. Marcel, what happens when Candace asks her, what happens when your visa runs out? Marcel and I are going to get married. She says, what are you going to tell your parents when you're here? Well, they've always wanted me to be married, and I've always wanted to come to France, so they will come here. So then she says the right thing to Van that snaps Van out of this la world that she's living in. She says, what are you going to do with Lottie? And Lottie is Van's daughter. Now Van and Ern, neither one of them are with their child at this point. The child is with Van's parents. What are you going to do with Lottie? She says, oh, well, once we get settled, I'm going to bring Lottie here. She says, what? To do what? Eat hands? And when she said that, all of a sudden, you see Van click. Her head clicks, everything, and she starts to really, really pay attention to her surroundings. And she starts paying attention really, really, really paying attention. And then once she, now let me back up. Van did confront Candace about, Candace wanting being the center of attention if she's not the center of attention. And that's that thing that I clocked sitting at that table. But Van confirmed what I was thinking about Candace. That, she's not the center of attention. She doesn't know how to cope. But baby, when she, like I said, when she mentioned Lottie, she began to spiral and spiral and spiral. And honey, she tore up that kitchen. She started throwing things because she's like, where is Lottie? Where is my baby? Where is Lottie? Meanwhile, upstairs, they hear the commotion. But the regular participants, they ain't studying nothing, honey. They sitting back and they eating their food. They ain't worrying about what's going on. They're eating their food. Zosha and Shanice are eating the food, but they hear the commotion and they hear Van. And it's like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? They take their veils off. And they realize that they are sitting down, literally eating a hand. Literally eating a hand. They are grossed out. They are just, they jump up and they leaving. Oh, I failed to mention that when they came to the party, Alexander Skarsgård was there, and he was mad at Van for setting him up and told him. But then the next thing you know, Van spits in the man's face. I was like, ew. She doesn't really discuss, because with us black folks, when you spit in somebody's face, honey, that is akin to getting you murdered, getting you killed. Not killed. Killed. You get killed because you knew better and you didn't do better. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing. But she spit on him. And then he goes to the bathroom, and I guess that turns him on sexually, because he starts playing with himself or doing whatever he was in there doing. He comes out of the bathroom at the time that the girls realize, Zosha and Shanice realize that they eating hands. He's like, hands! Where's my plate? I want my plate. I was like, okay. This is too much. Now, I will tell you side note, because, good old, I do talk to my girlfriend Google a lot. And it had been rumored in certain places that there are people, or the elite, there are dinner clubs and things like that where they eat, I don't know what the name of these clubs, my girlfriend Google didn't put out the names of the clubs. They just described certain clubs, gluttony clubs, or cannibal clubs, or whatever. They have a fancy name, the Society of the such and such and such, I assume. But these are places where people, especially the elite, will eat certain foods and stuff like that us of average means wouldn't eat. So for instance, there would be clubs where they would have chefs to cook them food. There could be an endangered species they would eat. They would eat certain type of game, monkeys or anything, things that we wouldn't consider to be meals, but they would eat those things. And then according to my friend Google, my girlfriend Google, there are some places that peddle in body parts that you can eat portions of human remains. Now, I don't know, like I said, this is all alleged. My girlfriend Google just described these places, didn't say that where these places existed, who they were. They were just rumors for this. So you can Google those. You can Google this kind of stuff up. That there's supposed to be people of the elite that do things like this. Don't know, never seen it, just watching it and just allegedly heard about some of these things. Okay. So then, after she freaks out. Now, I will tell you, going back, one of the things that you will notice with Van is her hair. So when she was acting like Amelie, doing all of these crazy things, there's a movie called Amelie. If you haven't seen that movie, go see it. It is an interesting movie. But anyway, her hair changes. Because then we see they're sitting out amongst the river, and they're sitting on the desk. They're sitting on benches, her and Candace. And Van starts to describe to Candace how a few weeks ago she's had this feeling dark, feeling unworthy, unwanted, suicidal. She even described an incident where she was driving down the road and she just closed her eyes. and was driving down the road. And then something sparked her to tell her to open her eyes. And when she opened her eyes, she was in the other lane. And so when she got here, so it was correct for those of us that thought it. When she got to that suicide, it clicked in her. This personality of Van clicked and came forward. Because when we saw her sitting on a thing, you notice how Van's hair was how she used to wear it. With it up and in her natural state and stuff like that. So our Van has come back. And so Candace is like, girl, you need, basically, you need some help and you need to go home. And so Van said, aren't you supposed to be peeing on somebody? And she was like, yeah, but, I'm not, I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not going to worry about it. Then it pans to this room, and we see this man, and there's a knock at the door, child. Knock on the door, and we see, good old Shanice. So Shanice done decided, shoot, I want me some $6,000 for pissing on a man. She goes in there, and she does her thing. She says she done had her, did she say she had 2 Red Bulls and 2 Powerades? I can't remember what Shanice said. And so she gonna get right onto it, honey. He done put down the plastic and everything. And she take off her pants and everything, and she gets to pissing, honey. And as she gets to pissing, honey, there's a backdrop of the Eiffel Tower, and she is watching it, honey. And I mean, she must have had 2 Red Bulls and 2 Powerades, honey, because she was standing there going. She was going so hard, the man was choking. He was like, hold up. End credits come up. I hollered. And that was the main of the episode. So we see Van. We finally got Van back. We finally get her back, and hopefully Candace can help her go get her some help, right? Then there is again, this is the ACU. We are still with the main characters, but apparently they have a post-credit scene. So we have the post-credit scene. We see Ern. Now, I don't know where Ern is at. I don't know if he's in New York. I don't know where he's at. But wherever he is, the people are speaking very good English. And not to say people don't, but I don't know where Ern is at. Because the man is coming from the airport to give him a bag. Ern said, I don't have no bag. He asked him what he calls out Ern's full government name. He said, that's me. He said, this is your bag. And he gives him the bag. Ern signs for it. And he's like, well, and I know this. Ern says to the man who's delivery man, and I know that this is not my bag. The man said, he ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Your name is on it. I was supposed to deliver this bag. I guess somebody called in and said that it was a lost bag. This is your bag. I'm giving it to you. The end of it. So Ern takes the bag. It is a normal bag, nothing out of the ordinary. Ern goes through it, he pulls out this picture, he looks at it, he puts it down, he goes through it. There's toiletries, there's medication, there's all kinds of stuff there. But he pulls out this shirt, and I can't remember what was the name on that shirt. Pentatone? Well, anyway, whatever it was a cute little t-shirt. He decides he's going to keep the t-shirt, so he gets up and he goes, I guess, to try the t-shirt on. Then the camera pans down to the picture, and it's this picture of a family. But as you zoom in, it looks like that man in the first episode that was fishing with the black man. It looked like him and his family. And it just zooms in, and then the show cuts off, and that's the end of the episode. A mess. I'm sorry. I think this episode for me was the best episode because I was worried about Van, didn't know where she was, what she was doing, how she was doing it. And we see a theme of, because it's always been this theme of surrealism in this whole episode, just this Afro surrealism going on. But for Van, we see this, we noticed this, and we noticed this a little bit you noticed something was different about her, but you didn't know what it was. And no, I don't want to say that. There are a lot of us that are struggling with illness, emotional and mental illness, that from the outside we appear to be functioning. we're something quirky about us, but we appear to be functioning. We know something's wrong, but we appear to be functioning. And pretty much the most part, people will mind their business about that. I thought this episode was good because even though Candace had her own issues of liking to be the center of attention, she did have enough wherewithal to understand that there was something going on with Van. And it is often that people, because the closest people to us don't seem to make anything wrong. Because, Ern was just concerned that she wasn't around. He didn't make any more inquiries other than that. He was like, texting her. And probably that's all he knew to do. He didn't know what was going on. But seriously knowing that she was coming and she got away from him, he didn't make any more efforts of trying to figure out where she was. Because, he had enough wherewithal to find all this stuff for Paperboy and these money and drugs and all these other stuff and pay all this money to do something like that. A few thousand euros to try to track where Van went, because, again, she had to use her passport to go from, where were they? Sweden and Bulgaria. Where were they? They were in Amsterdam. So she had to have used her passport from Amsterdam to France. She had to have used her passport. So he could have had someone just to kind of check on her to see how she got from point A to point B. Because she had to have used her passport for somewhere to get to point A to point B. Check on your friends, even your strong ones. Check on them. Make sure that they're okay. I do like the fact that Candace, stuck in there trying to check on her friend. I appreciate her for that. But ladies, and this is a real question because, a lot of times we get involved in stuff and we think it's because it's for the money, and it seems to be, you're not really peddling sex. But ladies, now I'm just going to tell you like this. I'm not judging and I'm not doing anything, but there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. But ladies, are y'all going to different countries defecating on people for the money? I know that there's people that do that, but y'all are really doing this. Just asking for a friend, because she might need to be hooked up. Ew. Not kink shaming. I'm just serious. Is there a big market for this? If this is, is there a big market for this? Is this what y'all are doing now? Because, some of y'all are perpetrating lifestyles on the gram and stuff like that on the social medias. Is part of your lifestyle because y'all are involved in this and you don't consider that to be a level of prostitution? Let me know. I'm interested. I really want to know. All right, people. That was that episode, and it looks like that's the season. That is Atlanta season 3. I'm looking forward to season 4 to see what's going on, because I believe season 4 is the last season, if I'm not mistaken. Because I thought that season 3 was going to be the last season, but in actuality, season 4 is going to be the last season. So I am looking forward to see what's going on in season 4. Tell me what you thought about this season. Tell me what you thought about our Atlanta cinematic universe. Going on all the episodes that did not involve our main characters. Do you think that with the ending, the post-credit scene for Atlanta, do you think that ending, how does that wrap around? How does that tie around to our main characters? All of these other different episodes, how is that tying into our main characters? Y'all let me know. All right. I know that this was long, but I really wanted to kind of get into it and get some information out about what I thought about. So the main takeaways is from this episode that I got is, when you're feeling like you're in it, get some help. Talk to somebody. Check on your friends. If they're your friends and you say that they are friends, because, a lot of times those of us talk about associates, people who we associate with, and we use the title friend. No, a friend is much more than that. Check on your friends. Check on your good girlfriends. Check on your guy friends. See what's going on. Have a conversation with them. It's not that you are going to be able to cure them or handle them, anything like that. But at the least, if they're not being able to find resources to help them, at the least you can do that. Even if the only resource you know is to call their parents or call their siblings and say, hey, they're spiraling out of control. The other thing is we need to check what excitement is. Because you look at Zoja and Shanice, these girls, you know, they're fish out of water. But I think Zoja wanted to do something that was, you know, run of the mill, doing the tourists and stuff like that. But you've got to check yourself because, listen, now that Van is Van, we have to understand that that's some dark, sinister stuff that she was into. And they're confident. Whose hands were they were eating? Where did she get those hands? Because they don't seem like they were in the morgue hands. Those hands were different colors, different sizes, you know, different races, different sizes. Where were you dealing in these hands? What does Emilio do? So now you're in a situation where, and then here you are, Zan and Shanice, y'all have consumed some of this. You don't know what these people have had. And I don't care how good a cook Marcel is. You couldn't cook all that stuff out of there. But this is just me. Be careful about what you deem to be excitement. Because what you think is exciting and thrilling and all this other stuff, y'all may be into something so deep you don't know what it is. All right. All right. This is our season finale of Atlanta. So glad that you all joined me. And tell me what you thought. Tell me what you thought of this video. Tell me what you thought of my videos on Atlanta on this series. Let me know where I can improve and let me know where things that you just can't stand about it. All right. Please tell your friends, your family, your co-workers that I'm over here doing these videos. Help me help you see me. All right. And with that and always, bye-bye.